Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/culturalstew. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Please listen carefully.
Welcome to the Cultural Stew Podcast, coming to you from the Goat Factory Media Entertainment Studios. We are your cultural media recommendation podcast, giving you our take on what we think is worth carving your time out for, and also what we think you can pass on and maybe go cut that lawn instead. Warning, we use adult language, and there may be spoilers ahead. Hello and welcome to the Cultural Stew Podcast, episode 30 for the week of March 10th, 2019. My name is Ron Herkins Jr., and we welcome you back after a brief hiatus. Here with my co-host,
Tony Carter.
And Valerie Vidmar.
Hello and welcome back. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah,
it has.
Yeah,
seems like.
So our last show was on the Oscar picks, and of course, we had the Oscar show. What surprises came through?
That it was, I don't know if we were surprised that it was a bad show.
I guess the lack of host was surprising to me. I mean, I knew we didn't have one, but it ran kind of smooth without one.
It ran smooth and it ran quick.
Yeah, it did.
I never wanted to go to bed before Best Picture before. Like, I just was bored and was tired. And
this was the first year I actually felt like staying up all the way through because it was moving. Definitely. Every other previous year, I'm in bed.
But they were playing people off pretty quickly, like early on.
They had favorites.
I think somebody got the memo because there was probably I don't know. We were talking in the back end, but all of a sudden it changed. It's like it went from them playing people off because they had the standard, you have 90 seconds from the time that you are called as the winner before you were kicked off the stage. And then right after I brought that up, the next person up was on there for almost three.
Who was that? I think it was Best Supporting Actress. She was up there for a while, and then
it changed right around the I think it was the best costume. Yeah, the costume design. Is it somewhere? It just changed, and I kind of was okay with it as long as they weren't reading lists of thank you to this person, thank you to that person. But
right,
it always turns into that for the most part.
It started out fine. It started out okay. I mean, that was funny. I mean, with the
Queen. Queen opening? Or are you talking about something else?
Oh, you know what? That was the opening, wasn't it?
Yeah. Adam Lambert.
Okay, so this is what I wish.
She did not like that.
Okay.
I didn't care.
I was thinking,
remember
you
that
know what?
comment.
I just totally blanked it out.
I didn't care for it that much either.
That's how much she liked it.
I wish they would have just had, I don't know how they would have worked it.
They wouldn't have been able to do it. Adam Lambert is part of Queen now. He's on physical tour with Queen. He is part
Why
of
can't it just play? I don't know.
Play what? I mean, I want to hear.
I don't know. And just have, okay, so you can't use.
They would have to
Freddie's voice.
basically leave Queen out of it if you didn't want Adam Lambert there. But
okay, yeah, then we should have just left him out of it because it had nothing to do with.
They wanted people to see. They wanted people to watch they couldn't have Raimi sing because he can't, so they just had Queen because
then have maybe
that would have actually been hilarious if he gets up there and that's how they started this show. Is he comes up, Remy's in full gear, gets ready to sing, and he's just like, I just can't do this, and he hands the microphone off. Hands it off to the guy that did the vocals for
Martel,
him.
I think, yeah.
But
I was thinking that our two lovely ladies from SNL, please help me.
You mean Tina Fey or Amy Poehler and
Tina
Maya
Fey.
Rondo?
Why am I thinking
they should host the show?
They started it. Did they come on right after?
They came in right after them.
That's who I was thinking started it. That would have been a great start. That would have been a good start. I totally blanked.
Yeah, it had to do the Oscars traditional musical opening.
Yeah, but it seemed like it was American Idol. I mean, I know he came from American Idol, but it seemed like it was.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It was weird. But anyway, other than that, I felt like
I bombed on all the technical words.
Well,
I still don't think Bohemian Rhapsody deserved all of those.
They have to give it something, even though they didn't need to. They just were. I kind of figured it's going to happen. I'm like, they just can't not give it. I mean, sound editing, why? Film editing, why? Yeah, they just. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. It's one of those things where it's kind of testy. And
Black Panther won a lot.
Black Panther got a couple in there. I was very happy Free Solo won. That was a good one.
I watched that. Did
do you
you
have
see
any
that?
doubt?
I've now seen it for the second time. What's that?
Do you have any doubt about it winning? Or
Did I have any doubt?
Yeah.
Just that it would have been like kind of out of the realm of what Oscars typically picks.
Okay.
But again, like with the stuff that was on there, that I mean, adventure photography is not something that they usually
Okay. I see what you mean.
They don't.
lean towards, and the fact that they did this year was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was not some.
RGB.
And I think the kicker was that they added the female voice perspective in the story.
Okay.
And so it had something more than just about a guy climbing. It was actually an interesting look at a guy who's kind of disconnected with society and his relationship with somebody who's trying to connect with him. So it actually became a really
Did they show, or did they not prove that he has some type of?
he has a higher level of everybody has a like if you see something that's graphic and disturbing or something that raises your adrenaline up, it takes a much higher level for his part of his brain to happen.
Okay.
Like nothing.
I understand that. I get that.
Things that would normally scare people.
Yeah.
He has not, like, it just doesn't even register.
Oh.
At all. They did all these tests. It was really fascinating, I thought, to see his brain function and how his brain is different than ours, because it would make sense now. Now it makes sense how somebody could do that. You know what I mean? Because I'm sitting there thinking, how in the heck is he doing this?
But I think you could probably do that on a scale of a lot of people. Like if you take people that tend towards risk activities versus people that do things like golf. You know, if you actually sat down and like did that same test on them, I'm sure you would see that same type of pattern emerging, that those people, the closer they get to that kind of climbing, they all share that same, their brain just needs a little bit more function to it. I mean, I told my wife right after the scene, I'm like, I go and run mountains and you don't want to see the edges of cliffs that I'm running along. And she's like, yeah, you just keep that to yourself. But it's like, that stuff doesn't scare me.
Yeah, Free Solo was about...
but what he did, not in my lifetime would I even think about. I wouldn't go like 10 feet above.
He scaled up El Capitan without ropes and without anything. And I didn't, but you know what? He practiced a lot. So that makes more sense. I thought that he just kind of started going on up. I mean, I didn't know that there were practice sessions, and those were scary to me.
His attention to perfection is insane.
It's like the guy that what
I said to my wife, I'm like, he seems like he has some level of something on the autism spectrum because of his focus and dedication, and especially like when he starts reciting like every single move that he makes. I'm like, that's somebody, or not autism, Asperger's.
A form of it.
Where they have such a high level of detail and remembrance for one very specific thing or focus. And like he was just nailing it off. And then it talked about his father. I'm like, it runs in his father's line of his family. So it makes sense that, you know, if it's a hereditary disease, or a hereditary thing, I can't say it's a disease because sometimes it's a really good thing.
Condition.
So
I would say, and the fact that he struggles with with emotions.
Yeah, I think he does have Asperger's. It sounds like a trace of Asperger's syndrome.
She definitely was not needy. You know what I mean? Like the fact that she stuck with him and, you know, everything, when he kind of just, at one point, I think he said, you know, if I had to choose between you and the mountain, I'd choose the mountain.
I'm gonna have to go choose. I'm gonna have to watch this now. I haven't seen it
How
yet.
have you not seen it yet?
Because I've been reading and working.
And she's like, okay. And, she just went for it. And then, I don't know.
He's selling kids Asperger's. I know that very well. So it's that compartmentalization, but one-track minded, and it's hard to have relationships that way.
So, yeah, free sale.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was just a happy point for me to actually see. I'm happy for Jimmy Chin getting, and the female director, I keep forgetting her name, but she's new to me. Jimmy Chin, I'm used to from a lot of stuff, just seeing a lot of his photos and his video work.
No names are coming to me at all.
I'll
I was
drop
very
them.
happy for the best actress award.
Oh, Olivia Colman. I was
Yes.
extremely happy for that.
There we go. Olivia Colman.
It disappointed a lot of my friends because they were all going for Glenn Close.
I was jumping
They're
up
like,
and down.
she got robbed. She got robbed. I'm like,
No, she didn't.
Well,
absolutely.
I'm excited for Olivia Colman.
She was fantastic in that part. She was fantastic. I just, after I saw it, I thought, there's no...
I think I sent out something that it was Olivia Colman finally gets her Oscar for Broadchurch.
No kidding.
It's like, and how many people didn't know who she was, and just like, in here but so yeah, Oscars. Let us know what some of your surprises were.
Did you see anything about Spike Lee's
Drunken rant after the Oscars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't see.
I did not, but I know he wasn't happy about Green Book winning.
I watched.
A lot of people weren't happy about Green Book winning, but
did you send it to me?
I sent it to you. Yeah, he was kind of toasted.
I feel that was one I nailed correctly. That it was like.
I just wish he wouldn't have done that.
Oscar bait.
He just keeps.
I would be upset too. I mean, it's just happened to him twice.
It seems like if somebody's driving somebody, I lose the Oscar.
He needs to be careful though, because that kind of resentment can backfire for him.
No kidding.
But it probably already has. So.
Well.
Can you just be happy?
No.
He got up there and was able to get the other one that I was actually
Screenplay.
I was right about.
Well, he jumped on Sam Jackson, which again they keep forecasting who's going to win by having presenters sometimes. But him jumping on Sam Jackson was the highlight, I think, of acceptance, tying up with Adrian Brody kissing Halle Berry when he won Best Actor. So that kind of excitement. So.
Oh yeah, that was good. Anyway,
I love moments like that though.
Yeah.
I do too.
Those are the moments that you're not like
Jr.?
Nobody's expecting it, and it just happens.
Walking on the chairs.
Yeah.
What's his name?
You're talking about Life is Beautiful's director.
Yeah, him. I like that. But there's lots of happy people. I like people that are genuinely
excited
and happy. And to see Spike Lee act like that, I thought, wow.
Well, he's...
I thought it was really kind of fun and nice. And then he had too much to drink, but whatever. Wouldn't we all?
And then, all right, so let's keep on moving right into the news we care about. So right after that, good old Spielberg had to bring back everything that we talked about in last year after the Oscars. He brought it all back up again, ripping on how Netflix and limited theaters. And I must say that there didn't seem to be as much response and support of Spielberg this year after that, because when you have something like Roma, just kind of, that was the big Netflix one. So
I did link on our page on Culture Stew on Facebook. I did link to the factual truth and fiction of the conversation Spielberg had. So it's like a fact checking. So everything about this whole debate has been, I think it's on Variety. I think they had a whole article about what he said, what's true, what other people are saying, what's true and what's fiction, and that can help clear up this whole.
It's going to be interesting, because he's definitely like, I'm going back to the Academy and we're going to talk about this. I'm like, okay,
Steven.
In sad news, there is only one blockbuster in America left.
I thought that
it's now just one. It's in Oregon.
I thought has been only one for a while.
No, there was one in Alaska.
They closed.
That just closed.
Oh, okay.
Was it about a year ago? Stephen Colbert bought a bunch of stuff from Russell Crowe's auction and sent it to the Blockbuster in Alaska to try to help them out so that they wouldn't close. Yeah, he bought like the jockstrap from Gladiator. He bought
Why?
No, it was the jockstrap from the boxing movie Cinderella Man.
Good movie.
The chariot from Gladiator and a couple other things, and then sent them to Blockbuster to try to
Get people in the door.
Get them. But that one is now closed, and now there is only one left.
Just one.
So
this is closer. We can visit.
And then while we were gone this week, we had a couple actors have died.
Let's see. We have Jan Michael Vincent. We have Catherine Hellman, who I believe is most famous for Who's the Boss? Mona.
Yes.
The mother.
Loved her.
I think before we even aired our Oscar episode, I think Everett Finney died, I believe. Or was it close to?
I think it was the same week.
Same week, yeah. So.
And then
Luke Perry.
We talked about it, I believe.
Perry.
Luke Perry was a surprise. I had seen that he had a stroke.
Yes.
But then I didn't, I was surprised.
It was really weird because I wasn't attached to 90210. Like I knew who he was, but I never watched the show. My wife did. My daughter watches Riverdale.
Kendra watches Riverdale.
So it's like I'm looking at the lens of like
it was weird.
2 generations here attached to him.
I know. And she was talking about him and she was talking about Riverdale. And I said, well, 20 some years ago, I mostly did it, I think, because, it was something that we all did. We all went down once a week and we watched 90. That's what it was called, 90. 90210 and Melrose Place. And we all sat on the couches because I lived in an all-girls dorm. And we sat and watched them every week. So, but then after a while, I floated off. So I didn't really, I never finished off 90210. I don't know what happened.
I think that's before my time.
And then actually they were going to reboot it. So they had everybody and they were going to reboot it.
Yeah, I heard that they were talking about doing something. It was just strange for me because I haven't watched Riverdale yet. But just my daughter just like all of a sudden I saw a post from him. I'm like, oh wait, he was on. This is just weird.
He also hated.
He did that horse movie.
Something Seconds.
Horse movie? Which one?
8 Seconds.
8 Seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked that movie a lot, actually. I thought he was good. Rest in peace to everyone.
So yeah, we lost a couple.
I'm sure we gained a couple too. A couple thousand.
Pretty sure. But we won't know for a while. Let's see. Any other major news before we keep rolling on?
I just want to say Oz Trebek announced on YouTube that he has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. That was kind of shocking, but he's been transparent all these years, so I'm glad he let us know, and we weren't hearing rumors and all that other speculation. And he plans on working through treatment, so we'll see how that goes.
Jumping into superhero corner for 1 second. Captain Marvel opened up to a pretty big box office opening weekend at $153 billion and over $400 billion internationally.
Not bad.
Unfortunately, that still won't shut up the certain corner of the world who just won't shut up.
What do you mean?
Oh, the males that like to trash on just because she's a female superhero.
Oh, I didn't realize that there was a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're making a very concentrated effort on dragging down all of her reviews.
Really?
Trolls.
I've never even...
Yeah, they did the same thing with Wonder Woman. They did the same thing with Rian Johnson's Star Wars.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Let me think.
A female director.
Oh, Hurt Locker? Is that?
No, but I think it was Catherine
Bigelow.
It was another
What?
What did she direct?
This actually works right into my movie.
Let me say,
Sorry.
Yeah. So
that's too bad.
But
I didn't know
that's the thing that's happening out there now is that people.
Oh, you know what? Women, we're tougher than you think.
Well, yeah, and I hope the women.
I don't think she gives a crap.
Sign in, log in, and start throwing up their own reviews to start balancing out the weights. But
I think it seems like they just look ridiculous. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that seems to come across. I haven't read anything and I didn't know anything about it, but just hearing about it just makes me go, okay, well then you just look ridiculous because everybody can see through you.
It's annoying as well.
So.
All right. It's trailers. The trailers caught your eye.
Let's see, Loving Vincent, The Impossible Dream. I talked about that movie. I saw it. It's basically the first animated, oil-painted animated film. It was farmed out by various artists around the world, and they put it together. This documentary shows the process, the love and passion for making this actual documentary. So it's a documentary about making that film.
I would love to see that.
That's exciting. Saw that on Apple Trailers, so I always get stuff from them. And then also, just quick, Cruel Intentions was released 20 years ago this month. So they are re-releasing in theaters for a week starting March 22nd.
For an entire week.
And I'm excited because, the music was pretty awesome. And Sarah Michelle Gellar kind of was breaking out from Buffy at that point, too. So
all the Buffy fans.
All those Buffy fans went and saw, hey, Sarah's, branching out and being sexy. And then we also have Ryan Phillippe and Reese Witherspoon officially met during this movie. And they got married soon after.
They did.
Yeah.
And then they ended.
Yeah. But still, it was cute while it lasted. That's what I have in my corner for trailers.
These were just random and disturbing. I don't know why I kept putting up disturbing trailers, but The Art of Self-Defense. It has our little boy from
Social Network and
is that Jesse?
Superman. Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg in it, and in a different kind of role. Unless I haven't seen a ton of his movies, but it seems like it shows a different side to his type of acting. He talks about him going in to learn karate because he's afraid of absolutely everything, and he's shown like crying in his car and all these things. It's kind of weird. And then a movie that looked, I will say that Brightburn, when I started watching the trailer for it, I was like, oh, this is intriguing. This is good. This is good. And then bam, it's like burned itself out at the end.
Did it seem like you were watching a new origin of Superman film?
Yeah, at the beginning, and then it turned into,
I think I brought that one up.
Then it was awful.
Yeah, I think we did.
Then it turned into this horror.
It's by
it's just ugh.
Who's the director? Is it the same director that did Aquaman?
Really?
No, that doesn't sound right.
But
James Gunn.
James Gunn, that's who it was. Yeah, James Gunn, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes,
the little boy who basically comes to Earth looking like he, following in Superman's.
He did that on
jet
purpose.
Stream.
Even got the colors, the blue and the red colors pop out.
And they came out and they found him, and
it's the what if
strong.
Superman was an evil alien.
but then it turns into, and then he of course has to create a mask as well, which is terrifying. So yeah, I don't think I'll be going to see that one.
She almost did.
But I brought it up.
Almost did.
I brought it up because I thought it was an interesting find. Yeah, that was bizarre.
Speaking of James Gunn, back in the superhero corner, he is 100% on for Suicide Squad 2. And they're already looking at casting. He's trying to get Dave Bautista in there. He's trying to get Idris Elba as Deadshot to replace Will.
Will, who decided not to return.
Which is okay. I'm perfectly okay if Idris Elba
yes
wants to be the Deadshot. So that'll be interesting to see what James Gunn does with that.
They're still using his script though for Guardians, which I heard. That's good. So at least we have some Gunn in there.
Yeah.
If he's not directing it, I guess that was a peace offering. But
Game of Thrones is ending, huh?
it is.
Yes. So a bunch of
I got a lot of makeup to do, I guess.
bunch of new trailers came out. I'm not going to talk about them because we already talked about their first trailers, but we got a new trailer from Dark Phoenix, a new trailer from Shazaam, a new trailer from Hellboy, a new trailer from Rocketman. All of them are better than their first trailers. I'll put it that way. There's a little bit better feel for them. As you mentioned, the Game of Thrones gets its final season trailer. I did not watch it because I just kind of want to watch the season and not want to watch the trailers.
Yeah, I can see that.
At this point, I know what I'm getting into with Game of Thrones, so I don't really have anything.
Are you caught up?
Season 5.
What? How many seasons are there?
8.
There's 8. Okay, so I think I'm on season 4 or something.
No.
Yeah, I've just kind of.
I am really maybe 3.
I had so much other stuff on the plate.
It just became to the point where I have never watched a show where I hated the characters so much. Just hated them.
Yeah.
I thought, why am I watching something that stresses me out and hated it? Huh?
Never mind. Sorry, it's a joke.
I missed that.
You don't.
Couple other ones. I ran across this one this morning. Was Finding Steve McQueen. It's got.
If you describe who it is, I'll tell you.
It's like a game.
Oh my God. I am
Describe
blanking today.
Dude, it's okay.
I cannot believe
We should. Everybody thinks.
I am blanking.
How are these people podcasters? They never know what anybody's name is. It's because.
No, I do until we start recording.
We like
is
to talk.
Will Fichtner in this?
Will Fichtner and
Travis Fimmel.
Still, that's not the
pretty
name.
going.
Taylor. Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. There we go. Ding, ding, ding.
So Forrest Whitaker plays one of the FBI agents going after this main character who calls himself many different names, Steve McQueen being one of them, and he at one point looks like Steve McQueen and is driving fast cars, and Will Fichtner is one of the bad guys. It just looked funny. It's going to be one of those things that it's probably going to be an Amazon movie or something. I don't think it's going to be in theaters for long. But it'll be definitely one I'm going to watch just because I like these. They're kind of quirky crime dramas that aren't quite mainstream, but there's enough weirdness. It's kind of like the racing one with, not the racing one.
So
This is the worst episode I've ever had.
No, I think this is
Blondie Bond.
Okay.
I feel like this is an opportunity.
Man.
An opportunity. So we each download a search engine, and then when we blank out, all of us try to find the one, and we find out which search engine finds it first.
Google does it.
I'm just saying that, and then Google should sponsor us.
And then the other one that popped up when I went and saw Captain Marvel was a new one called Late Night.
That's a good script. I read it.
And that's Mindy Kaling.
Yes.
And the woman.
Is that hold on a second. Give me a second. I know who you're talking about. I read it, but I've not seen.
And then the other one that popped up was Tolkien. And this came up a couple weeks ago. And then Kendra just reposted it the other day, so it popped back up in my feed, and I was like, oh yeah, Tolkien came out.
Oh, Emma Thompson's in it.
Yeah, Emma Thompson with really, really short hair as the late night host, and Mindy Kaling as her script writer / assistant.
Amy Ryan's in too. Hugh Dancy, John Lithgow. Yes, good cast.
I like John Lithgow.
I didn't even see him in that.
He's cast in it though. By a small part.
Interesting.
Tolkien, that film trailer kind of jarred me for a little bit. It felt like almost Dead Post Society meets something else, but it looked good. It just had a vibe, but it should be good. Should be, because we all want to know why he wrote what he wrote and how he wrote it. So
I could care less, but I saw it. It was out there. I'm like, interesting. And the other one that caught my eye, this one was about a week ago or so. It popped up. Was Highwaymen, another one that's going straight to Netflix. It's got Costner and
that's Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson in it. Looks good. It's about two of the agents that were involved in the chase for Bonnie and Clyde.
Should be good.
And they were basically I think Woody Harrelson was basically on the edge of retirement, and he begged Kevin Costner's character to bring him back in on the chase. And it's the two different.
It takes place back then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's Kevin Costner and Woody Harrelson's way of, I think, were they Texas Rangers or U.S. Marshals?
Marshals.
Their way of doing law work versus the new way of doing law work, and how it all culminates at the Bonnie and Clyde.
That's interesting.
So I was looking forward to that one. And then another one that was kind of announced around the Oscar time, and there hasn't really been a trailer, is I think it's called Irishman. It's Martin Scorsese's new film. Yeah. Which I found really funny that Spielberg was criticizing the whole Netflix thing, and then here we go with Marty's got like one or two of his films are going to be produced specifically and directly to Netflix.
Well, Cannes is still shutting things out, so we'll see what they do, because that would be nice to have that in competition, or at least
if Netflix keeps getting these big directors like this, I mean, how can you...
Right.
You got Alfonso, like...
Well, Netflix didn't produce it. They just took it, but he funded that with his own company and stuff like that. So that's another misconception. People think that Netflix produced it, but they just grabbed it. But that's a different thing. I don't want to get into that.
But you know what? I'm glad they did, because it was available immediately.
Right.
You know? So that's about all the news and trailers I got. Anything else, everybody?
I'm good.
I'm done.
Okay. Well, let's waltz over into the recommendation list. Valerie.
So this kind of tails in the fact that you guys just talked about all these men having an issue with a woman superhero. Jason and I went to go see On the Basis of Sex last night. That's about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who is played by Felicity Jones. And it is based on her life story. I'm not going to, it was inspired by true events. Now, I'm just saying that I guess there are some issues with, this is true, this is not true kind of stuff. But, for the most part, I think...
Creative license.
Yeah, I think it was, I thought it was fascinating. I didn't, obviously, I had no backstory on her. And so this was really cool to kind of see how she worked her way up and going to, let's see here. When she was in Harvard, there were 8 women in Harvard. They didn't even really acknowledge her. They just called them Harvard men. And when her husband, who was played by the delicious Armie Hammer, I'll just do that. That was really... Anyway, he falls ill with testicular... That's hard for me to say. Cancer. And at that point, it was a 5% survival rate, which seemed pretty dim. And yet they beat it. And while he was sick, she went to all of his classes and took notes. Now, that is a true statement. I looked that up. I thought that was cool. And then it kind of goes into the fact that back then, women couldn't have, but they had to have credit cards and their husband's name, and just tons of things. But the cool thing is that she was able to bring about changing over and bringing up women's rights by prosecuting. Well, she was helping out with a man who was taking care of his mother, and it was a tax.
Yeah, she spent a good portion of a decade.
It was a tax,
proving out equal rights.
Equal rights
that were applied not only to women, so that their cases weren't focused on women, but they were also focused on men.
Yeah, and her first one was,
and so that was her chipping away at.
It was a tax case, and basically, the fact that it was something about that caregivers had to be women, and she won.
Because that was probably the story about his wife died and it was him and the kid left together, and he wanted to stay home and take care of the kid.
No, he was taking care of his mother.
Okay. What I would recommend also is there's a great documentary that just came out last year, RBG.
Yes, I saw that.
And it delves into all the key cases.
But there was a lot of faces in there. We had Justin Theroux and Sam Waterston, who I always enjoy, and Kathy Bates. They were all in there having their little supporting roles. But I would recommend this movie for anybody. I thought my dad is in Mexico, and so he can't really go see this movie, but I think he would enjoy it. Jason was like, your dad would probably enjoy this movie. My dad is a judge. And I thought that it was well done. I think Jason was a little worried about it being kind of Hallmark Channel. But I thought they did a great job. It was directed by, it's right here.
Mimi Leader.
Yes, it's right here. I'm sorry. Mimi Leader, and written by Daniel Stiepelman. Yeah. But I will admit, here's what happens. Again, I worked my tail off all day. We go to date night. I'm sitting there relaxed, and I was shaking myself, had nothing to do with the movie, shaking myself awake just to stay awake to watch this movie because I was so tired. It's sad. I can't even go out on date night and stay awake for a movie. I've been trying to go to the matinees for myself. Yeah, because the day before I had gone to see the third installment of the How to Train Your Dragon, Hidden World, which was excellent. But yes, on basis of sex, I would go see it. Ruth Bader Ginsburg fans, or anybody who is a fan of justice.
And I would follow up that by saying, go see RBG.
Yeah, that's you can actually watch it
on iTunes
or on Amazon too.
Yeah, either.
So yeah.
Tony.
So yeah, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit here. So I spent my break from the hiatus from the show watching a lot of things, and one of them was a documentary. See, here's the thing you have to understand about me, is that I like to write screenplays, and there are some things I like to write about that are not very popular. But there was one story I read about in the New Yorker about a guy named Phoneix, who was a voyeur, and he built a motel to become a voyeur, to spy on his tenants or customers.
I'm
very
familiar.
interesting. And Sam Mendes and Spielberg bought the rights to it, and they were all set to go, but then they found out this documentary was coming out, and they kind of passed on it. And then they also said, backtrack, well, this is such a hard thing to tackle writing-wise, so we just let the documentary breathe, which I don't buy that. But moving on. So the documentary is called Voyer. It's on Netflix. Came out in 2017, and it's about our friend Phoneix and a writer, Gay Talese, who writes, he's a very prolific writer, writes true crime novels, and he followed the story. Basically, let me get this going here. I'm pulling up my information so we are accurate as possible. So we have Gerald Phoneix, a motel owner who contacts Gay about 30 or so years ago and says, I saw you're writing about, sex liberation and this kind of thing. I may have something you're interested in. I have a motel where I spy on my customers. This piqued Gay's interest. He came out to visit and saw this was true, and then they started corresponding for almost 2 decades. And basically recently.
How could you correspond with somebody for 2 decades and not turn them in?
Well, it's that whole Truman Capote syndrome. I mentioned that you're so fascinated by this and you want to see it complete, and you want to see what happens, that you don't want to finish your story or your novel until it's over. So I guess he realized after the statute of limitations were up that our friend Gerald would not be arrested, so he started writing the novel and then got it published. And there's a whole lot of stuff that goes back and forth between them. And we don't know if Gerald's telling the truth or Gay's fabricating things. We just know there's a lot of like catches and anger toward both sides, and it's just a lot to take in. I mean, I read the novel that this is based on too, and honestly, sorry Sam and Steven, but it's not hard to adapt or pick an angle to tackle this with. So I may still tackle it myself as a writer. But still, moving on. Mm-hmm. It's a good story. It's interesting and kind of on topic here. Gerald claims that the reason why he got fascinated with watching people is because his aunt was living near his home as a young teen, and she had her window open, and he had a crush on her, and she had red hair, and she would change her clothes and didn't close the curtain, so he would spy on her, and that just sparked his whole fascination with spying on people. And interesting psychosis he goes into, and you don't know if he's lying or not. There's a couple of moments where you're like, he's not a reliable narrator, and even Gay Talese calls him out on this behavior. Gay Talese even disavowed his novel. He spent so many years writing on it because he found out that, Gerald wasn't telling the truth. Spoiler alert. And then he comes back, but it's a very rich story. If you're looking for an inside look into how people think or just a different take on life, I guess. This is going to branch out into my other topic for next time, but it's a good start jumping point. Mm-hmm. But it's called Voyer. It's on Netflix, and I would say watch it. And you can watch it right away, or if you have nothing to do and your kids aren't around, you can watch it then too on a rainy day. There's not graphic stuff. There's some language issues, but it's pretty tame. There's suggested sex. You don't see breast or anything. Just child warning, I would say. But it's fascinating to me.
So Bad Times at the El Royale had the voyeur aspect to it. So there was basically a tunnel, and in that tunnel, you could set up a camera, and you had like behind the window of every hotel room.
Creepy.
You could see in. And so that's how like most of that movie unfolded, was through there.
I would, if I were to observe people, I think I would definitely not go for the bedroom because...
Well, it wasn't...
No, I'm just saying that I think it'd be fascinating to see different types of human relationships, but not the sexual part.
Well, that's the thing too. He in the novel and also in the documentary, they explain that there's not a lot of sex that goes on in motels. Like he said, he took notes. Like he had like charts and things too, and patterns, and like a sociologist. That's how crazy and creepy this is. But still, he made it like a whole methodical thing. But still, he pretty much kept tabs on everything. He said that it's not always about sex with these people. Sometimes it's about just, coming here, unwinding and sleeping someplace else, or unwinding. And he claims to have witnessed a murder happen too.
Holy crap.
And then that's why he didn't turn himself in, because if he's basically an accessory to a crime if he saw it happen and didn't. And technically he was an accessory. He caused the murder in quotation marks. So, yeah.
Yes, that's insane. I would like to see all the families that I go to visit. I'd like to just see the film of the hour before people arrive. I just want to see, are people... Oh,
man, they're coming over
is
again.
Everybody cleaning up things? Is everybody...
That could be a good documentary.
Or are they not caring? Or are they just, whatever? I am fascinated with... I watch other moms all the time, and I am fascinated with some of my mom friends and how laid back and cool they are all the time. And I'm thinking... Do you lose your shit ever?
Just wait until I get to my preferred things later on in this episode.
So I find it fascinating. I just want to, a day in the life, I just want to go and observe how other mothers are and how they run their households, because I have no idea what I'm doing half the time.
It could be a good idea for you to do on your own. Just get a camera and go and watch.
No.
No, I would no.
I don't want it to be turning into some kind of like nanny show or anything.
No.
I just am fascinated by how does everybody make this work, and how does everybody keep their cool, and I don't have a full book.
The secret is we're all flipping out inside.
Yeah, but some of us
a little
flip
bit
out.
more than others.
But I'm actually the only audiobook that I just started though. And you guys could laugh if you want. But I started reading The 5-Second Rule. Have you heard of it?
Never heard of it.
Well, maybe you should.
Can I talk about my movie first?
I know. Yeah, I was just saying that. See, this is the ADHD. You want to know about the ADHD? There it goes. Okay, so let's focus back on you, Ron.
Okay. So yeah, if you hate spoilers or you hate being talked about a movie that is just released, close your eyes and skip ahead. Close your eyes, close your ears, and skip ahead because I'm going to talk about Captain Marvel.
Yay!
I've been waiting for this movie for quite some time, and it finally came out on Thursday. Captain Marvel, of course, is the latest installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starring Brie Larson, Sam Jackson, Goose the Cat. Coulson is back. We got Ben Mendelsohn as one of the bad guys and Jude Law as one of the good guys. I'm going to leave it at that and not spoil that little spoiler.
Are you serious?
What?
Never mind.
I'm not going to.
Warned? Nah.
No, because if you're familiar with the big Marvel universe, there is a big flip in this.
Right.
How did my stuff, what just happened here?
I put it in order, so I know it's in order. It's right there. It's there. I put back.
Yeah, but it just deleted from mine and now it's not showing up.
You can't see it. So,
Really?
Yes, really.
Dude, it's there. It's there.
Where is
Do you
no,
guys
but
have
it's
it?
not on mine.
Why would it not be there?
undo. So, I read the screenplay. It's up on that one, but you can continue. I'm going to watch the movie soon, but I have read it. Where'd it
all
go?
the names, everything's
Are you
gone.
serious?
Yes.
Undo.
Look, see?
Undo.
Okay, I'll undo it. Did that work? It's back?
No.
I got nothing.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, dude.
So anyways, it's written by and directed by
Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck.
Thank you. Since I don't no longer have that in front of me.
It's okay.
Who are kind of newcomers to me. Their history is pretty limited. With their biggest one, I think, would be Sugar.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
But they are not.
Household names.
They're not mainstream. They really nothing big out there that you would say, yeah, these are your front runners to direct a Marvel movie, B, a Disney movie, and C, an action movie in the biggest universe out there. And same to be said by the composer.
Pinar.
Her name is Pinar Toprek. The only things I found on her that even popped out were she did the music for Krypton and the music for Fortnite, the video game. But I still, even with that being on her resume, I've never heard anything by her. She had like 42 credits to her name and not a single thing on there that I've seen with the exception of those two.
It's cool these people get hired, these big movies.
It is. But it's kind of, it can backfire on you too.
Sure.
When you're putting them in this situation where it's a big movie, big franchise, let's see what's going to happen. I'm going to touch on the music real quick. I thought the music was underwhelming for the movie.
That's too bad.
It just felt like it wasn't driving enough. It's awesome that it was a female composer because there's not many of them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ever feel the sense of like, oh yeah, this is heroic music.
It was not Zimmer enough for you.
But I don't know if that's just because the audio, the sound editing and sound mix in general seemed very light to me. it wasn't,
In what format did you watch this movie?
This was just in the normal AMC
Just
theater. I'm going to go back probably next week and we'll go catch it in the IMAX as it is in IMAX 2D.
Okay.
Just to see if there's something that changes. But like all the dialogue and everything else was right up where it's supposed to be. But all the effects and everything just seemed way down. And like nothing jumped out at me like, wow, this is a really good mix. Everything sounds really good. Huh. It just felt underwhelming. And I don't know why. And I don't know if it was a choice that they made or something was set up in the theater wrong.
How did Brie do?
So back to the main cast. So a couple years ago, probably 4 years ago, when they first started floating out the casting for Captain Marvel and said that there was actually going to be a Captain Marvel movie, the first person that tops my list as who should be Captain Marvel, and even after seeing Captain Marvel, was Yvonne Strahovski. I probably just butchered her name, but if you've seen Chuck, she's Chuck's girlfriend in that. If you've seen Handmaid's Tale, she's in Handmaid's Tale.
Who is she?
She's got brown hair in that one. I don't know. I haven't seen Handmaid's Tale yet.
I have.
But show her the picture, she'll recognize her.
Oh, yeah.
So in Chuck, she plays a secret agent that falls in love with or not falls in love with, but is to protect a guy who basically works at a Best Buy. It turns into a hilarious comedy, but she's a kick-ass, female superhero, basically.
So the casting
But she, for casting, like, to me, was like the perfect Captain Marvel.
I can see that.
This is Carol Danvers right here. She was good at her combat training was good. She was good at emotion, and she had that nice balance between being funny and being serious.
And scary.
Yeah, I haven't seen Handmaid's Tale, so I haven't seen her like go that far over there. It was more from the other ones.
In a very cool way.
Brie was effective as, I don't know if that's the right word. She's effective enough to be a good superhero. She kind of was bland at the beginning, and I think that's more due to her backstory, because her whole life was basically erased from her mind.
Right.
She didn't know who she was or what she was, so she was basically brought into the Kree environment, and the Kree aren't very happy-go-lucky people. So I'm thinking maybe that was a choice of how she was playing that, and then as she started growing and figuring out who she was, her old character, who she actually was.
Does she have parents?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't understand when you're saying everything was erased from her mind.
Yeah, she got into a big accident. The Kree finds her, brings her to their home world.
Fully grown woman.
Yes, she was an Air Force pilot.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too much into backstory here because it's
no, I know. I just need a teeny bit.
Yeah,
got it.
And so, but the movie opens up with her on the planet with the Kree and with a person who basically is training her, and then they go out and do Kree stuff, and you learn about the Skrulls, and the Skrulls can change their faces and turn into other people, and one of those Kree is Ben Mendelsohn. And I like Ben Mendelsohn. One of the shows that I didn't put down on the binge, but is a good show, is the one that there's a Netflix series that he's on with the star from Friday Night Lights as well.
Sorry.
And also,
which is one of my binge shows.
Yeah, we'll get that name for you. But that was the first show I've ever saw Ben Mendelsohn on before I saw him in Rogue One. So, I mean, all these characters, you get Sam Jackson coming back as Nick Fury, and this is Nick Fury before he became Nick Fury. This is like, I'm a little bit more happy-go-lucky Nick Fury. Life isn't so serious. The world's not ending, Nick Fury. So he takes things a little bit lighthearted.
Which is kind of funny. Last name being Fury, is that why?
And he makes a point of like, she asks, like, so what do people call you? And he just keeps reiterating Fury because he thinks it's cool.
Bloodline.
What's that? Bloodline. Yes. That's the one. And then you got Jude Law as one of the Kree.
Oh, really?
Yep. And then
Jude Law.
Lee Pace comes back and revives his role as Ronin. A completely different looking Lee Pace. He's put on a lot of muscle or weight or something because he does not look like the skinny Ronin from the Guardians. So my rambling here. Captain Marvel is an interesting take. It changes a little bit. If you're familiar with the comics, it changes her backstory, her origin a little bit. You've got Annette Bening as Marvel. And if you're familiar with the comics,
wow,
Captain Marvel gets her power from Marvel. Basically that's how she becomes Captain Marvel. Marvel. And there's a funny story in how they do the Marvel back and forth. And but Annette Bening plays a role as basically a lab scientist, a scientist at the Air Force trying to create an engine. And what we find out is that she's actually one of the Kree, and that she's trying to take Bree's character, Carol Danvers, up to her lab. They get attacked by another ship, and in the process of that, Bree ends up shooting the energy propulsion unit, and then all that energy goes into her as Carol Danvers. So that's one of the big major changes of the storyline, is that's how she envelops her power, is this big energy blast just overtaking her.
3/4 of the world knows exactly what you're talking about, and 1/4 of the world has no clue.
I'd probably say that's probably closer to like maybe 10 to 20%.
Okay.
Captain Marvel is a popular enough character, but
I'm sitting here completely clueless. But Kendra would be right with you.
Yep.
But
And
there's so many things
family.
about the movie. It's on its whole, I think it's a great movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Good.
I think it's a good addition to finally be able to bring her in there, because they acknowledge her existence, and it's like, okay, where the hell has she been? Mm-hmm. And the movie answers it.
Yeah, they do.
You get a nice answer to, oh, well,
that makes sense.
And if you know anything about traveling, like,
did you read it? Okay.
Traveling between galaxies, like, the time level, like, even if she was gone for, what to her would be an hour of traveling, by the time she came back could be several years on our time, because of the way that whole
time thing.
Yeah, that's been explained to me before, but it's astronauts experience it to a small degree. I weirdly, and I said this to one of my friends, is that as much as I liked the movie, I didn't get the impact that I got out of watching Wonder Woman for the first time. And I don't know if it's because Wonder Woman kind of helped break that, like, oh, finally there's a female superhero out there that just kicks ass and just led a really good film. Mm-hmm. I think Captain Marvel is a good film from beginning to end.
Is it beautiful cinematically? Oh.
It's okay. I mean, there's nothing that stands out to me that says...
Because Wonder Woman I thought was beautiful. Cinematically.
Yeah, like I said, it fits right in with the Marvel Universe. It's a good film. I don't know if I'd put it as great. It's better than Wonder Woman as a whole.
Really?
You got Wonder Woman has a third act, kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? Why did we just turn into CGI hell?
It's a nightmare.
But with Captain Marvel, you kind of get the third act is where she learns who she is, and everything kind of comes full circle for her. Uh-huh. And we get Carol Danvers back.
It seems like a full, well-rounded story.
Yeah. My major complaint is Bree's comedy doesn't come off.
She's not.
As well as
does not seem like a comedic gal.
She's a very, I don't know, laid back.
Yeah, I mean, since seeing her short term 12, I felt she's always been. She has humor, but it's not like he is more like You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not really laugh out loud funny or not even snicker. It's just like
It's more like if you, and I don't smoke weed, but I'm sure if you smoked weed, it'd probably be funnier.
I see.
But I got a lot more comedy out of Agent Fury and his interactions with Goose the cat.
I don't know.
funny story.
Brie Larson's
But
always kind of underwhelming.
Carol Danvers to me has never been a comedian,
Right.
but it's kind of like they forced a little bit of that,
Goofiness.
It's Marvel World. We got to have a little bit of goofiness in here. And so they threw a little bit of goofyisms with her. And it kind of seemed to be like a choice though, because it's like the way they were played, it's like, okay, maybe this is her previous interactions of herself kind of sneaking through.
So Jason mentioned that I didn't know that was playing. I'd like to see that movie. That's kind of, I thought, well, I was right there. We could
Tell them to listen to the podcast. At the end of the thing, I tell them what's coming up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so for people like Jason and myself that have no clue of a lot of things,
Don't
Marvel.
watch it.
You've watched a lot of the Marvel stuff though, enough to say
I have more than maybe he has.
But you don't need to know anything in the comics to understand the movie.
You don't.
So we could go.
It's an origin story of Captain Marvel.
Okay, we could go and not have and be like,
the only thing that like knowing the comics would do is be like, well, didn't this happen in the comics? Didn't this happen in the comics? Aren't they?
That was my problem reading
in
it.
The comics.
That's my problem reading it. That I kept getting jarred, snapped out of it.
Well, yeah, I mean the big flip. I'd probably say it's in the 2/3. I wouldn't even say it's halfway. I think it's probably like 2/3 is where they have the big flip in the film, and it's like, even I was thrown off because where I thought the Marvel universe was heading with these characters, they are definitely not going in that way. And it was one of the biggest storylines in the Marvel universe. Right. So it's like, okay, well, they just took that out of it. Now what are they going to do?
Right.
And once that kind of went past me, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to let this be what it is. And I enjoyed the movie for how it then told the story. And I wasn't so much caught up on like, well, this happens in the comics, that doesn't happen in the comics. And then
I'll probably do better watching it, but reading it, all that stuff kept jarring at me and getting in my face and distracting me. So I think watching it would be a different experience. I hope. I really do.
And I kind of think that's like one of the hardest things, and probably one of those things that a lot of the people that do read the comics and then goes and sees the movies is that they're expecting such and such from the comics, and they have such high expectations or such strict guidelines as to like, oh, well, that happens in the comics. That can't happen in the comics, that they don't allow themselves to say, okay, tell me a new story.
Right.
And that's what you need to, we're almost 20 films in, just let the story tell a story by itself. Right. And not rely specifically on the comics. It's using the source material, but not using the source material as a Encyclopedia
Britannica.
That's what the
problem. I think that's what it is. A lot of people they're saying this is the source material, so why don't you follow it? But I think the way the MCU is going is that they're creating their own like Game of Thrones moment where they have the source material, but they're kind of deviating from it and creating their own, I wouldn't say interpretation of it. I would say just their own, making it more cinematic, more.
You guys so need a round table. It's disgusting.
Palpable.
You really do.
Yeah, but I can turn it around on you, and you talk about stuff like this sometimes too.
No, I'm just saying that it's so in depth, and I think it's.
So in closing, my piece that I just wanted to say about it is I liked, there was things that happened in Infinity War that started getting tied up.
Right.
This kind of brought things together even tighter, and like it pulled on threads from like 3 or 4 different movies. You're like, oh, yay. And you're like, well, okay, everything is getting closed up. Infinity War is going to get here, and that whole book's going to be closed, or Endgame's going to be here and it's going to be closed. So it's really cool to see that like they did take those considerations. It wasn't just like, no, we're just throwing Captain Marvel in here just to give you a movie in between the two.
Right. It's
like, no, there's stuff in Captain Marvel that play out. And so now let's see what happens. So my recommendation is go see it. Don't read the reviews because they're tainted. Just go out, enjoy it. If you like the Marvel movies, you'll like it. If you don't like the Marvel movies, then go find something else to watch. Go watch Medea's Family Funeral. All right. So, moving on. So, you have a book you wanted to talk about.
Oh, I just started it just because I feel like a lot of things are overwhelming to me right now. And so I constantly look for books. I'm constantly reading books about everything to figure out how to get through this thing called life. Sorry. And so I started the 5-second rule, which I've found to be kind of interesting. And I just started it today. And basically what she's saying, Mel Robbins, who became famous, I guess, now she's some big book person that gets these books out, and has like tons of these, maybe 3, I guess. But this one became extremely popular when it came out. And she says in 5 seconds, like you come up with something, but in 5 seconds, your brain will tear that idea down. So you have to get up within that 5 seconds and start moving toward that idea or toward what you're wanting to do. Because you will talk yourself out. You will talk yourself out of it. And it's supposed to help you with lots of different things. And she started doing it because she was in a really low part of her life in every way. And so she just is like, you know what? If I have an idea or something and it happens in 5 seconds, I'm going to get up and just do it. I can let you know how it turns out at the end of the book if I'm transformed into this amazing person. But you can also, I think it's melrobbins.com /33 lessons, I believe. You can go on and there's 31 lessons and there's like a lesson a day or something on it. But yeah, we'll see if this transforms my life and it takes away anxiety and it helps me figure out, what the hell I'm doing. Sometimes I sit around and think, I am not moving. I am completely not. I'm just sitting here and not moving in any direction at all. Do you ever feel like that? Probably not. But I feel like I'm sitting there.
I move too much, I think would be
I can't move toward a career. I can't move out of the house. I can't move, how am I supposed to be a better mother? How am I supposed to be a better wife? I mean, constant, just like in my head, constant, because I'm sucking at everything right now. I'm just in a shell. Could be because of events that happen. I mean, it could be that this is what happens after you have had double mastectomy and you have no idea who you are anymore because, I don't know, it's kind of messes with your head. But this book sounds interesting, and I got it on Audible. And in fact, I helped a friend with Audible, and she went through the cultural stew. So she got through cultural stew. So that's kind of fun. If you want to go through and get a 30-day free trial and an audiobook, plus maybe I think there's 3 or 4 that you can download. You can go to audibletrial.com/culturalstew. So I did that for a pal so that she could listen to a book she wanted to listen to. So that's kind of cool. You always have that option. audibletrial.com/culturalstew.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving into today's stew. We're talking about binging. Not binging on alcohol, not binging on food. However, you can binge on food while you're binge watching.
I suppose.
That would not be a good combination, however.
I feel like this is like a past life type of thing. Like I could really binge before kids. And now I just kind of binge in the evenings and then fall asleep watching.
I have my moments. I have like pockets of like, okay, I have nothing going on here with the kids. Running's in a funk right now. There's no photo jigs. I have like a week open. What am I going to watch? And it's just like how many shows can you get through?
I can't do, maybe when my kids get older, I'll be able to do this. Yeah. I just, I can't get any of that done until after, life starts at 8 p.m. Sorry, I'm just kidding. That sounds terrible.
That's 3 shows a night?
Well, it's not 3 different shows. We're slowly going through The Americans. I think we're on season 5. We're getting there. So, that's how we have to do it. But before, I could just, back in the day, before kids, I could sit all day and watch a show. All day. It'll be fun when the kids are older and we're able to do that together. Like, you just have a day where you just all watch a show all day long. I can do it with the girls with their shows.
There's some days when I can get started a little bit earlier just because they're pretty self-maintaining at this point that they just go and do their stuff.
Or not.
They have their own shows or they have their own, they have tablet time or whatever for a little bit. They go and do their own stuff and it's like, well, it's quiet. Click.
I know. I end up cleaning something. Ugh. Anyway, but
it's really hard when it's like a new Marvel show came on Netflix because they start at it's 12 p.m. Pacific, so at 3 a.m. they're available to start watching.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe
There's
you know that.
a couple times I've gotten up at 6 a.m.
No
and
way.
knocked off 2 before work. Yeah.
Wow.
And then Saturday comes along and it's like, whoa, there goes Saturday.
Huh.
And then by the time we record
Is your
on
wife
Sunday,
watching with you? What's she doing?
she doesn't watch the Marvel shows.
Oh.
We have different tastes in a lot of...
Does she binge as well?
She binges stuff like Grey's Anatomy.
When? During the day?
No, she binges
In the evenings?
evenings when I'm gone or whatnot.
Gotcha. But back in the day, I was able to.
I also typically go to bed before she does, so...
That's so weird because I can't imagine Jason ever going to bed before me. I can't imagine that. But we had old stuff. So I guess if you're looking and it's still gray outside and it's still cold, but spring is on its way, but it's not quite here. And you need to have some new shows, or some old shows that you missed. Get out your pen and paper and start writing some stuff down. So from the binge from the past, I just wrote down some that I loved watching, and I could just do episode after episode. In fact, Jason and I would get into fights because one of us would go ahead and watch one and then pretend they hadn't watched it, and it's ridiculous. So 6 Feet Under was on HBO many, many, many years ago. And actually, I came into the party late, and I watched that about 5 years ago, and fantastic show. Lost.
Lost was the first one for me that I remember binge watching. I think that was the first Netflix series I started.
Ours was, I don't remember. I don't remember how we binged. I guess it was a Netflix.
No, Lost was on Hulu. So Lost was our first one on Hulu.
Getting discs.
And Office was Netflix.
See, I watched the British version of Office.
Good choice.
You can watch both.
But I haven't. But but Ashley, my sitter / friend, she's been with us for about 4 years. She just binged The Office, and she binged it twice in a month. That's just, she liked it so much. But
it was funny. I looked over and my daughter was binge watching it. I was like, oh, so you're on The Office now. I was
asking people what they binged on. Like, I asked Kendra what she liked binged on, and she, the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt was hers, and she did American Horror Story, the hotel one, because that one has Gaga. And I had her watch Felicity with me.
Hotel, which one are we talking about?
It was American Horror Story.
Okay, just checking.
And then I found Jessica Jones by myself, believe it or not. And she also watches that. She watches Riverdale with her little sister. But we're on the binge
from the past. You're talking about new stuff.
These are old. Downton Abbey is old.
No.
I guess. Okay, so Lost, Mad Men, that's old? No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The West Wing.
Stuff that's not made for...
I own it.
That weren't made for Netflix and Amazon.
I see. Okay. Felicity. And so Sex and the City, HBO, it seems like a long time ago. Friday Night Lights was a long time ago. The Killing, but that was the Netflix one.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have some that seem like they were just long ago. Dexter and Breaking Bad was probably Jason's favorite of us going through, and that's actually a Netflix thing, right?
Breaking Bad was on AMC.
AMC, yeah.
Okay. And
but it's funny because most of the ones that you labeled were most of the ones that Netflix opened up with when they went into the streaming format.
Oh.
They were ones that were like some of the first big streaming names available.
The one show that I have, there's two shows that I have not watched that I have heard huge things about. People love them and freak out about them and, talk about them. Okay, so I guess there's three. There's Buffy, which I have not seen, The Wire, and The Sopranos. I have not watched any of those, and there are people that just go crazy over those. Have you guys watched, aside from Buffy, have you seen The Wire or...
I've seen bits of parts and
or The Sopranos?
I've seen bits of it. Sopranos, I did, but...
Did you was that bingeable for you? Like you wanted to see the next one and the next one?
Not really.
I did. It wasn't enough for me to want to go back and watch it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But those are mine. Tony?
So I'll list mine. Buffy, of course. Growing up watching that in the 90s and early 2000s was always something I would look forward to watching. And
everybody loves Buffy.
Had to wait until the next week drove me nuts. Or also bi-weeks drove me nuts. Seinfeld was hit or miss with me. Sometimes I wanted to see what was happening next. Sometimes I didn't. It wasn't like a continual thing until later on when the episodes tied together more. Oh
my gosh. Sorry.
Rescue Me. My dad said that's like your male soap opera because you watch that all the time. And I have the DVD set.
It's good. Though.
So it's a good show. It's like you have to keep watching it.
I've heard lots of good things about that.
It kind of has...
Stephen Pasquarelli.
So it has weird seasons. And he's a good singer, good performer all around. But... Rescue Me had dips. Sometimes their seasons were kind of but still all together.
The last two seasons were pretty solid.
Yeah. I think it was like season 4, 3. Something happened where they got a little low, but not totally. House of Cards low. But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Mad About You is coming back. But love that show.
I loved Mad About You. So exciting. Sorry. I love that.
Sorry, I'm just getting tired of them bringing back shows.
So am I.
Oh,
I'm okay.
Oh, you mean it's coming back?
Yeah, they're doing
I'm okay with you bringing back a show like after a couple of years, but something that's been...
Okay, I'm sorry.
20?
I thought you were
saying... 20 years?
Yeah,
more?
It has been, yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant they were going to bring the old shows and have them available on Netflix.
I'll come back to that.
Paul and Helen Hunt coming back.
The baby and
No, that's not what I thought.
I had a crush on her sister, but this is a totally different thing. So, Mad About You is coming back, but that was a thing I used to watch a lot. Golden Girls, of course, is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Dustin.
And during the summertime, if you are on TV Land, it's on in the morning from 12 till 4 o'clock. They show episodes in the morning, early morning.
They're funny.
In the summertime. But Golden Girls, if you want to give me a birthday present, I want all the DVDs. I can't find all of them.
You and Dustin.
So
that's his favorite show.
Yeah.
He loves that show.
Doctor Who, of course, and Frasier.
Which Doctor Who?
The new.
Okay.
I've seen all the old.
The new.
Yeah, with
2005.
David. Yeah, David. But yeah, I mean, that's me.
Frasier's a good show.
It didn't start with David.
Not David. Going backwards. What's his name?
Christopher.
Christopher left because he didn't want to be typecast. Yeah, but still.
Okay.
David still sticks to my... David and Matt.
Because David is where it took off.
Yeah.
Are these available to watch right now?
Rescue Me is on Netflix, I think, still on Netflix. Seinfeld, never. Buffy is on Facebook. You can watch it.
It's on Hulu. It's on Hulu.
Which is...
Buffy.
Okay. Mad About You is coming back, but you can find that on TV Land. Golden Girls is always on TV Land in the summertime.
I wonder if it's on Hulu. Mad About You. That's a great. I'd like to rewatch them. I also watched 30 Something. I started watching 30 Something when I was 12. There's something wrong with that, or 10.
But yeah, I'm done with mine. That's my
cool. Thing. Ron?
Did you say Frasier?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frasier is the interesting one that is the spin-off of Cheers.
I used to watch Cheers too.
Ow.
Yeah, because
he
was
there were two shows that spun off from Cheers. There was Frasier and I can't remember the name of the other one, but there was another one. So mine, I mentioned a couple of them. Lost and Office, Breaking Bad, definitely agree with.
That's a great show.
Justified is a good one that was off of FX. And I know it's on or was on Netflix there for a while.
What was that show that was on FX? Scalpels. It was
Nip Tuck.
Nip Tuck.
I can't find that anywhere but library.
I totally went crazy and binged on Nip Tuck, and that is some screwed up shit. But if you want to watch some screwed up stuff, then Nip Tuck.
There's a lot of screwed up stuff out there.
But that's fun stuff, man.
Nurse Jackie.
Yeah, Nurse Jackie. So a lot of that stuff that we just went off, those are stuff that were kind of, they started out on the main networks, and now they're available for streaming season by season. But they weren't specifically developed to be viewed in the binge watching format. So when Netflix and Amazon started producing their own stuff and Hulu, we started getting a change of the way episodes were approached, that you can actually sit there in one viewing and just keep watching them like it's one really, really long show or one really, really long movie.
That's when my friend Leslie, that lives in Minneapolis, and she's the one that told me to watch The Americans. And she said it's so weird because she had to wait every week. And here I get to watch bang, 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 bang. And she's like, I'm just kind of jealous because I always had to wait. And
you all did.
The Americans did a really good job of cliffhanger, and so you just have to watch the next one. So, just happen if, all good things come to those who wait and are ignorant.
Yeah. And there's also a pacing thing. So like a lot of those other shows that we mentioned, they're all developed with the exception of, I think, one or two of them are developed with commercial breaks in mind.
Yeah.
So your pacing of the way these shows are broken up by these weird, like all of a sudden there's a blip. That's where the commercial was supposed to be. And then you're back into the story. Whereas in the newer stuff that we're talking about, I mean, it's literally like you just watch the full thing. It's a full 45 minutes, full hour. Movie.
It's normally an hour. And you watch the other ones are 40 minutes because you take the commercials out, which I kind of enjoy that format.
Yeah, I am a big fan of the newer binge format. And I would like to have seen some of these older shows retold in the newer binge format if like you can go back to the producer and say, hey, how would you like to have your show be completely uninterrupted for 13 episodes? What would you do with it? And it would be interesting to see.
I think Josh Whedon could do it.
What's that?
I think Josh Whedon, Buffy, Angel could do it.
Yeah.
See, I didn't have any commercial breaks with Sex and the City.
That was because it was HBO.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like the stuff that was on HBO and Showtime, you really didn't get that. But
Friday Night Lights was fun. It's a very family-oriented show.
So when let's go into some of the ones from the new stuff. Tony?
So I have Friends from College, which was canceled after season 2. Annoying. But Sam Clear at his diet is coming back for season 3 sometime this month. So
I didn't even make it out of episode 1.
Of what?
Friends from College.
Me neither.
I think it's just my nostalgia of me being goofy.
I didn't either, but I hear it has a good soundtrack.
It does.
I had no connection to it whatsoever.
My wife said the same thing. It's just some people connect to it, some people don't. It's kind of awkward, off the wall, weird. It reminds me of my friends from college, I guess. So, yeah. House of Cards used to be, and then it went off the rails after season 3. So, that was made to be binged. And it was a great binge when it first started. The first 2 seasons were awesome. You wanted to keep watching it and see what happened. I don't think it would have been successful on network television because it was just, you need to see what happened. You need to be able to go back to it immediately and rewatch it, then watch again. But it was good when it started, but then it started just going out of control, ridiculousness, but that was my favorite show for a while too. I think House of Cards was the first real thing Netflix got out that was a hit for them, and you still hear Spacey's knock knock with his ring when the logo pops up. So, but unfortunately, it kind of tanked and.
I think it's
potential.
Sorry, here's my brain going. Dee, 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 dee. It's just weird to hear, like Kendra saying that they binge watch Friends. I'm like, really?
I never.
They sat and watched 10 years worth of Friends. Oh my gosh, I just can't even. And I just watched it when it was on. It's just weird. But you can binge watch Friends now.
They renewed it for their license to show it.
I just.
Totally not interested in that.
I don't need to rewatch that stuff.
So some of the ones that popped up for me, some of the newer ones I like are, of course, a lot of the Marvel stuff, specifically Daredevil and Punisher. I think they're really good seasons. They're really something fun, and there's enough in there to meat on the bones to keep you moving into the next one. Ozark was a big one for me. I really liked that one. Winner on Amazon was Sneaky Pete. I just thought it was creative, and I have talked about it before. Giovanna Ribisi in that is a good one. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, just fantastic show, and it moves along at such a good pace that you can easily keep binging on it. Altered Carbon, Sense8, Narcos.
Okay.
So.
My new ones. I have a lot.
Jozark.
What's that?
What?
Another joke.
I have a lot of mine down here because we break them down to action, comedy, drama. But
I'm sorry. 1 second. You were typing and it paused. It didn't update. So I had the J from Jessica and the O from Ozark, and it was together and nothing was in between. So it said Jozark.
Anyway.
It just looked funny. And then all of a sudden it popped up.
We're all looking at computer screens. And
it's been a fun technological day.
Okay, so I have Daredevil and Marcella.
You liked Marcella?
I did. I did like Marcella. And then Jessica Jones, of course. And it's interesting that, I tried to watch the guy that got canceled. He goes along with Jessica Jones. He dates her.
Luke
Cage.
Yeah, Luke Cage. I tried to watch it. Then Ozark. And then I got this book and I couldn't even finish the book because it bothered me so much. But when you put it on, I watched You, which is a guilty pleasure. It has, I can almost say his name. Oh, he's on Gossip Girl. But PB Budgley or Pays, whatever. Anyway, I normally can just say his name, but it is a total guilty pleasure. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's kind of like watching Pretty Little Liars, which I have, and Gossip Girl, which I have. But yeah, it's kind of fun. So, and now we're going to best binges, and we're going to knock them out for those who like certain types of shows. So, action.
Yeah.
I put The Americans. 24 was my first binge I ever had. And I didn't realize, and you don't have to watch 24, by the way, in order, because I went 2, 4, 1, 3, and it was really cool that way. The Walking Dead.
What drove you to watch 24 in that order?
Because that's the way I got it. I don't even know why. I have no idea.
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, seriously, I don't know. I can't remember if I got the CDs not in order or something, but okay. I just got yeah. So,
I thought it was something like somebody had done the Star Wars thing with you. That called a certain way of watching the Star Wars in a different order.
Oh, no. So those are my action ones because I think you would call The Walking Dead action, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yes.
24 is definitely
It's
action.
action drama.
Yeah.
And there you go. And
Yeah, so Netflix Marvels minus Iron Fist Season 1. You can skip Iron Fist Season 1. Alter Carbon is a good one. So,
do you have
you
any
got the other
action
ones.
flicks?
Don't
No.
know.
Okay. Comedies. I have Grace and Frank. I love Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda and Martin Sheen and Sam Waterston. I love these people. So, and it makes me laugh out loud, which rarely happens. And comedians in cars drinking coffee with comedians in cars, or Jerry Seinfeld's thing, I think is kind of interesting. And the other one that I forgot to put in here that makes me laugh is Portlandia. It just cracks me up. It's so whacked out.
And Portlandia was from,
This Larry David.
that was HBO? Showtime?
I think so. Yeah.
Portlandia makes me laugh, and the other show that people you have to like it or not, or they hate it, or it's Curb Your Enthusiasm. Cracks me up. Other people absolutely hate it. But yeah.
A couple of comedy ones for me. Russian Doll, a recent one.
I didn't realize that was a comedy. Interesting.
Yeah, it depends on how dark your comedy is.
True.
It's a dark comedy for me. Orange is the New Black, like the first couple seasons, I kind of lost it after season 2 that I started like, this has gotten boring.
Right.
But I think the first 2 seasons, they're pretty solid. They knew what they were doing. Of course, The Office, both British and American. I think they both have their strengths.
They do.
One that I found on TBS, Detour, was kind of funny. Santa Clarita Diet
always
with
good.
What was the detour
Drew
about?
Barrymore and Timothy
Oliphant.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. And we got another one that, so on Stars, you can find Ash and the Evil Dead. So if you like kind of a mix of action comedy with horror, it's got it all. It's kind of funny. I enjoyed it. One I found on Netflix the last couple of years, I had been watching a show by Norwegian Swedish company, and it was called Lilyhammer, and it had Ronnie Van Zant from what's his name, Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band, as one of the characters in it. And that show ended, and a new show popped up called Norseman, and it's created by the same people, has some of the same characters in it, and it just basically deals with Viking life, but with like modern comedic input and ideas thrown into the mix. And then one other one that was a gem of this last year was Sex Education, which I think was a good one.
I forgot to. Oh no, I didn't. So now we're moving into. Do you have any? Did you have any?
He listed the one I was going to mention. Santa Clarita's Diet was one of my favorites. So
now we're going into drama. I could have probably gone on and on and on here, but Broadchurch
good choice.
was a find that I just started watching and then didn't know anything about, and just loved it. I love Broadchurch. I will probably binge it again. I mean, that's how much I like that show. And Downton Abbey, I will admit I didn't binge that.
You kind of have to. I think that I got lost in it, and I had to keep
watched
going.
it every
Sunday.
Yeah.
How to put Ron to sleep in 2 minutes.
And
It tries.
then I guess I said that one already, 16 Under, and then The Killing already. So I guess I know that I've watched other dramas, but they're a little bizarre. Like
There's a new there's a new thing coming out with Joel Kinnaman and a girl that's trained as a spy. And there was a movie based on it a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
The agent that's after them, I couldn't place where she was from. She's from The Killing.
It's a great show.
It's both of them. It's because Joel Kinnaman was in The Killing as well.
I wanted to also say that I liked The Night of, and I liked that show, and I liked Gypsy, which is definitely not for everybody, but I liked Gypsy. Not very many people knew about Gypsy. And Goliath, which is on Amazon. And I liked Big Little Lies and Night Manager. Okay, I'm done.
So Hannah, I'm going to throw into the action thing.
Hannah,
so that when Hannah, it's going to be released later this year, but they had the pilot available for like 7 days to watch.
Right.
And it was Joel Kinnaman and then the FBI agent from The Killing. And it was funny. I was like, I know her. Why do I know her? Well, because Joel Kinnaman was in The Killing with her. She was the lead character. I was like, I know her. I can't place her. But I think it'll be a fun show, or action show. I mean, it was pretty cool. My dramas, what did I have? So, yeah, Broadchurch, of course. I mean, can't pass that one up. I thought Narcos was told really well. Big fan of the lead character off of that. I'm just having a bad day here with names. I can wrap off these names. American Crime Story. I just caught seasons 1 and 2. I kind of binged those the last 2 weeks.
The same actors with different.
No, so American Horror Story does that.
No. This is the same.
No, American Horror Story does that. American Crime Story is by the same guy, Ryan Murphy, but they don't do what American Horror Story did with the actors.
Is this not Felicity Huffman? Felicity.
Say again?
Okay, so not her. Who's in
American Crime Story?
Yeah.
Season 1, you've got my goodness, it's cursed.
Felicity.
No,
Huffman is not in it. She's in.
You have one of your favorite actors that's from American Horror Story.
Is it Ali? Isn't he in?
No.
Okay.
We'll come back. Give me a second.
So that's a whole different show. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to.
I got sucked into it.
Let's see. Jessica Lange, Sarah Paulson.
Yes.
Dennis O'Hare is good. Angela Bassett.
So the first season deals with the OJ trial, and it's got Sarah Paulson as the lawyer, and Cuba Gooding Jr. is in it.
Okay.
And then
I saw that.
But it's just...
I didn't realize that was a ongoing thing.
Yeah. Ryan Murphy, the same producer who did American Horror Story, did American Crime Story.
So what is the second?
So the second season is the assassination of Gianni Versace, and has
okay.
He just won for.
Yeah, he was in Glee.
Yes, he just won.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was.
I mean, you look
American
at
Crime Story.
the cast of the first year.
Cool.
You got Sterling K. Brown, you got Cuba Gooding Jr., Bruce Greenwood, Nathan Lane, Sarah Paulson, David Schwimmer, John Travolta. I mean,
there were
just
tons of people
full of talent, and I kind of just been dismissing them and not watching it, and then I'm just like, you know what?
I didn't know they were related,
and I just went and watched it, and I'm like, these were very well made. They
really
were good.
They were.
And Darren Chris's turn as the killer and the Versace one is it was great. Thought it was good. A winner from Stars, Hap and Leonard. I really like that series.
I've heard good things about Hap and Leonard.
So they've had 3 seasons.
But I can't watch that. I don't have Stars.
I think there's 2 seasons. No, all 3. I think all 3 seasons are now on Netflix.
I've heard about Counterpart too.
So Hap and Leonard is all on Netflix right now. Counterpart is on Stars as well. That's got J. Jonah Jameson in it.
Mm-hmm.
Game of Thrones and Billions are kind of my picks for the drama area.
Do you have any drama?
You mentioned them.
What were they?
Downton Abbey, Broadchurch. Game of
Okay.
Thrones.
That's it.
I'm not really into a lot of TV. I watch a lot more movies.
I am not big on sci-fi, but somebody else want to start this, but I started talking already. OA. I liked OA. Thought it was bizarre and fun.
That's coming back for season 2.
Stranger Things. Jason and I really got into that. And The Leftovers we got into. I believe I know I have more sci-fi, but those are the ones that came to my head.
I just have Timeless. X-Files I put originally, but I'm going to take that off, even though you can watch that over and over again. Timeless, I think they had a moment a couple months ago where you could watch like certain blocks of seasons of the season, like see 3 episodes at once. They had them online. But Timeless is the kind of show that you should watch probably in one big chunk because it just flows together. And even though they do blackouts, when you watch it, I have the DVD of season 1. When the blackouts happen, it comes right back and it's like you didn't miss anything at all. But I would vote Timeless as the best binge for me.
Every time you talk about Timeless, I think Quantum Leap.
Because it's the same. Well, it's not the same thing. It's just a new generation's Quantum Leap. Sorry.
That was Courtney's favorite show.
It's a good show.
Yeah, so I got a little overlap with Stranger Things. I thought Altered Carbon was fantastic. It's
I
not,
need to watch that.
not the greatest sci-fi show out there, but it's set in a very cool place. The graphics are done well. It's fun to watch. I also thought The Lost in Space,
It's good.
the new one, was really good. And then, Game of Thrones, because I didn't know which one I wanted to put it in. So,
I could technically put this show in here, sci-fi fantasy, only because, Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale is kind of like that, and I really enjoyed watching that. Oh, and 11/22/63. That's sci-fi.
yeah, I did not enjoy that as much as I enjoyed the book.
Jason and I watched that one together.
I wish they would have had a different lead actor in that.
And then under the category of comedy, I forgot Veep.
Uh-oh.
Veep that's a guaranteed laugh.
Okay.
So hopefully people learn some that they hadn't before, and they have now some things that they can get through the rest of the winter watching.
And I can honestly say this, that I watch so much shit that there's definitely stuff on here that I've missed or forgotten to put on here.
I know, me too.
I mean, there's lots.
Queen
stuff.
Sugar on Hulu. I love that show. It's actually on the Oprah network, but you can get it on Hulu. I enjoy that.
Like in the comedy realm, there's an animated series that's on FX, Archer.
Yeah,
I always thought was funny.
A lot of people like that.
It's just funny, especially when you know who the voices are behind the characters. It just makes it even more funny.
I was wondering, have you watched the show Documentary Now?
What is it?
Was that you? Documentary Now?
No.
It's the same people as Portlandia, it looks like.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I never got into Portlandia.
That one looks really kind of funny. There were some that I saw that I wanted to watch. Like, you guys thought that the one that Rami Malek is in.
Oh, yeah,
Rami.
Mr. Robot.
Mr.
Robot is really good. I still got 2 seasons kept up on it. I mean, that was just based off of the first season. I thought was really good. Well,
and Bodyguard looks kind of bizarre, and Perfume I wanted to watch, and then Northern Rescue just came on recently.
Okay, let's move on, or we're going to sit here and talk all day. We're like an hour and 45 minutes into the show already.
All right.
What's our next show, Stu, on?
So I'm controversial, as you all know, but we're going to talk about sex and love and all that fun stuff because, I didn't get to do it in February because, Oscar stuff. But I want to talk about sex and love and how it's portrayed on screen. So I know that film is fiction and stuff like that, but we've seen a lot of love-making scenes and a lot of, boy meets girl, get cute things. But I want to see how real life works.
So not like relationships. You're talking about movies that have sex in them.
No, movies that portray relationships. And I'm going to be focusing on a Netflix docu-series. It's called Sex and Love Around the World. So if you want to see what we're talking about, it's on Netflix, still available. I've watched all the episodes repeatedly, but it's basically a anthropologic sociology kind of experiment where they're looking in on how different cultures and societies in major cities around the world view sex and women and courtships and things like that. And I want to talk about how we see it in film, TV shows versus how it really works.
Give me an example, like body heat, or
like in some cultures you're not allowed to touch each other. There's no such thing as PDAs in public, which is fine, but you can't even hold your partner's hand.
Are you talking about in real life?
In real life. In real life.
Okay,
so I want to.
You want to go in real life. You don't want to deal with movies.
I don't want to see the fictional example. I want to see how real life really works, how reality hits versus a dramatization of a culture. So it's kind of like, I'm going to say it this way because that's the only way I understand. A lot of people think Mormons can have multiple wives, and that's just not a thing. My friends who are Mormons keep saying that's not our sect. That's not what we believe. That's a different group. But that's the first thing people think about when they think of Mormons. So in this way, I want to say we first think about this when we think about courtship, but in reality, the dynamic is this. So we may be getting something from a movie, but in real life, this is what the real deal is. So I want to tackle reality versus what we see on screen to be more dramatic or creative or entertaining. Because sometimes that's misinformation. It's going to be more damaging than just telling the truth, if that makes sense. I can explain more of it on the Cultural Stew Facebook page, but that's what I want to talk about. Just real representation versus dramatic representation when it comes to sex and love and courtship in the world. So again, we're going to be looking at Sex and Love Around the World. There's 4 episodes.
Not to be confused with episode 21, which is there any point to sex scenes in movies?
That's
or real relationships on screen.
But yeah, it's just a continuation. So there's a lot of things on Netflix about sex workers and things like that too. So it's just something that hit me in the head, like maybe we should kind of talk about what really happens versus what we see with Pretty Lady and Pretty Women. And
Pretty Lady?
I call it that, but it's Pretty Women. Okay, but yeah, I just want to see what we can find, investigate real fact from fiction.
Okay. Interesting. All right, let's whip through the remainder of what we got here.
Okay, so Kids Corner, I went with binge stuff for the Kids Corner. So a great show is Gordon Gibbons on Normal Street. Fantastic show, by the way. And it only got a couple seasons, but those seasons are fantastic. They're great for everybody in the family, really. Just Add Magic is cute. And it works out well. And Girl Meets World.
I love that show. I think I was going to love it.
I didn't think I was going to like it, and I kind of like it. So those are my 3 for Kids Corner.
All right. I got nothing else there. So what's on your radar? What's in your queue?
I'll go first. So I finally watched Clouds of Sils Maria. That's the Juliette Binoche and Kristen Stewart film. Stewart's launching pad, they got her to be taken seriously. She won a Cannes Award for her role in that film. That's on Netflix. I've been listening to LeVar Burton Reads. It's a podcast where he reads stories for adults to help us go to sleep and relax. And thanks to listening to his podcast, I found Wolverine's The Long Night, which is Marvel's foray into podcasting or scripted podcasting, which is phenomenally awesome. And it's great listening to a comic book story, like a radio drama. Now, Valerie, you mentioned you want to see what moms are doing behind closed doors and that fun thing. You should watch Working Moms. It's a Canadian show on Netflix. It's like a docudrama about moms working. It's fiction, but
it's working moms. But are there any at home?
They're still at home. A lot of them are suffering from postpartum depression, nursing issues. Canadians hit things realistically.
I think the screenshot of that is the nipple pumps.
Yeah. So I like Canadian drama. I like Canadians, so I'll be watching that probably.
Well, I will be watching that.
So that's what I have.
All right. So what I watched, I watched a lot. Green Book, Equalizer 2, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, Mortal Engines, Fantastic Beasts 2, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Killed Bigfoot, American Crime Story 1 and 2.
What did you think of the Hitler Bigfoot?
Not as good as I wanted it to be.
Okay, I just wondered.
I liked Sam
It looked
Elliott.
strange.
Yeah, it was strange. I wanted it to be something more, but it was still fun to watch Sam Elliott. Listening, I only listened to it once, but there is a new Weezer album out, the Black Album.
Mm-hmm. Really? These came out teal.
It's a Black Album.
I know.
This is their legit album, not their cover album.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay.
The last one that just came out was their let's do a bunch of covers of music.
Still good.
But the Black Album is the one that had the Can't Stop the Hustle and all that is on there.
Oh, Dumbo's coming out soon.
This week. Yeah, so that's on my radar is Dumbo, and if I have a chance to see Alita. My time is getting more limited, so getting out to movies is going to be fun for the next couple months, but I'll figure out a way.
What is Dumbo rated? Is it PG?
Possibly.
Okay.
I don't know.
And Q?
Nothing in my queue right now.
Okay, so I finally watched...
My queue is I'm getting a tattoo on Tuesday. We'll see how this works out. Yeah.
What? Okay, we can discuss later. But that's exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Cool. Free Solo.
Exciting from the person who said he was never going to get a tattoo ever.
Times change.
Why are you doing it?
Because I felt like it.
Okay. So it just happens sometimes.
And I've had like 4 months to think about it because it took so long to get on this guy's calendar.
They're kind of addicting.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Might be the only one I get. I hate needles.
It's not too... Well, it's not too bad.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Needles.
Free Solo. I watched, and I keep watching The Americans. I'm plugging on. And then, of course, I watched basis of, on the basis of sex. And then I mentioned How to Train Your Dragon. And that's about it as far as what I watched. What I listened to, a lot of fighting with little girls. And, I love them, but man.
Yeah, we had a break in there, didn't we?
Drive me nuts. Yes, we did. We had a break and with school, and guess what? We don't have school on Friday either. So another 3-day weekend. Woo! It's called March Break. Friday.
There's no such thing. They made that up.
Yeah, I know.
You just need a break. Just say you want a break.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, so and then on my radar, Can You Ever Forgive Me? I saw that I could watch that on Amazon. And then Greta looks right at my alley. Kim just said, I think, it's something that you and I could watch together. I'm thinking, when in the hell do you have time? She's always working. And then now you see Dumbo came out. So I was thinking maybe it'd be enough for the girls. I could take the girls there.
Don't forget to put Marvel on your list.
Mm-hmm. I probably won't go by myself.
Take the girls with you.
They could watch Captain Marvel.
It's about a female superhero. Why not?
I guess so. We watched. I don't know. It was about.
They'd get a kick out of the cat if anything.
And then why do I have? Oh, some make you. That doesn't really make sense. Anyway, but I started the Umbrella Academy. I started it.
My wife finished it. So.
I watched the first 2 to 3 episodes.
Is it any good?
I like it. I'm a big fan of the comic, and I thought it did well for what the comic was.
The one episode got a little boring, so I'm just trying to trudge through it.
Yeah, it's different pace than what you're expecting out of a comic book.
Well, the first episode was good, and then the second episode was like, that's different. But yeah. So I was waiting for Jason to catch up on The Americans, so I watched The Umbrella Academy.
Hurry up, Jason.
I watched it. I watch these shows while I am on the treadmill. So somebody listen to music, and I'm watching shows. Anyway, so that's it.
All right. Well, that wraps up our show.
It should.
Anthony, where can we find you?
I'm all over Facebook. I'm on Instagram at AntCarter85 on Instagram. My Twitter is SMTORCHIO, and I'm on Facebook. Just put my name in.
Valerie.
I'm Valerie Lorraine on Facebook and at VB Vidmar on Twitter and Instagram, Penny Lane 64.
And you can find me pretty much everywhere as at GF Media or GF Media CEO. You can find us at culturalstew.net, at culturalstewnet on Twitter, and Cultural Stew on Facebook. Catch you next time.
Ciao.
The intro and break music is Please Listen Carefully by Jazir, available through the Creative Commons license from Free Music Archive. Please see our show notes for details on what the outgoing song is and who it is by. And also, as always, if you have a piece of music that you'd like us to play or consider playing, please contact us today. Like what you've heard? Want to continue to hear more? Please consider Patreon. What is Patreon, you ask? Patreon is a content creator support site, a way for people to support the things they love and allow creators to continue creating the content that they love. Please consider heading over to patreon.com/gfmedia and becoming a Patreon supporter today.